Good morning and welcome to another episode of How to Be Happy Again. This week, what I want to talk about is that happiness takes persistence, and I want to talk about why that is, because we are in a world where people are wanting you to be angry and upset and unhappy. You have to look no further than the political climate right now to know that both sides have a vested interest in keeping you mad, keeping you upset, keeping you unhappy, because they're presenting themselves as the solution to your unhappiness. And, it isn't just the political climate. You look at any magazine, any advertising campaign, they're all based on the premise that you're unhappy unless you do what they want you to do, which is to buy their product, buy their service, whatever it is, it's supposed to make you happier. And, it will make you happier for a little bit, for sure. But one of the things about human nature is that once we get happy, it doesn't last forever. We get used to it. We get accustomed to it. So if you've ever bought a new car and you realized that it was so great when you first got it, you would get into the car and it would be, the smell, the new car smell, and oh my God, all that stuff. And then about somewhere between 6 months and a year later, it's just a car. Just a car, because you've moved on to something else. So we're going to talk about why persistence is important in How to Be Happy Again. But first, if you don't know me, my name, believe it or not, is Silver Rose. And my passion project is to share with others what I learned along the road to recovery from 30 years of clinical depression that eventually also spawns alcoholism and post-traumatic stress disorder. So I had, from the age of 5 to the age of mid-30s, I was clinically depressed. And I had a lot of really great teachers along the way who helped me to pull out of that. And so I'm here to share some of that knowledge with you, so you don't have to spend the amount of time that I did to find out. So let's talk about the whole issue of having to be persistent to be happy. The best example I can give of this is that if you've ever had a garden, and I know right now all over the country in the United States there are these community gardens, for example, or you may have a garden of your own. Well, when you plant, let's say you're planting peas in one area and corn in another, and maybe some flowers in a third. Excuse me, I need to get a Kleenex. Oops. What happens is that when you plant these seeds, you don't go out the next day and say, "Where are you? How come you're not up here yet?" You know that it takes time for the soil and the sun and the water to do their magic to produce those seeds, and it takes and they come in their own time, and they're all different. Corn probably I don't know anything about this, but corn probably grows faster than peas, etc. So just like that, happiness takes time. So you plant the seeds and you continue to water them and give them sunshine and make sure you keep the pests away from them, etc. So if you think of your life like a garden, then you'll be a little bit more patient. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because it occurs to me that many of us, and I certainly fall into this category, think that being happy is it just should be a natural state of being. And certainly for little children, it really is. One of the things I notice about little children is that it's really hard to keep them unhappy. They will throw a fit. Absolutely, they have tantrums and all of that. But once they're over it, they naturally bounce back. If you put a small child in a room to punish them for something they had done, and let's say there's no electronics or anything, it's just a room with a bed and a dresser, they would probably cry for about 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 10 if they're really persistent little buggers. But after a while, they will find some way to amuse themselves in that room. If you put an adult in a room like that, they would hold a grudge for 20 years because we don't bounce back as easily. So we need to work at this. So there's different things that I offer as, passing along the lessons that I learned. And one of them is to set your day up properly. Don't just get up. First of all, if the first noise that you make when you wake up in the morning is, ugh, then you're already off to a really bad start, my friend. So one of the things is to get up in the morning, when you wake up in the morning, is to smile. Just smile. You will. I have been talking about this for a while, and sometimes I feel a little silly because it seems like such a simplistic answer to some things. But I'm telling you, the way that your brain is wired, is that when you smile, your brain doesn't know the difference between pretend and reality. So when you smile, your brain gets the message that you're in a good mood, and it sends all those feel-good chemicals into your system. When you wake up and go, ugh, your brain gets a message that you're in a cranky mood, and it sends all those negative chemicals into your system. It is really something. In fact, because I share this so often with people that, Nancy says smile, you bet. Because I share this so often with people, I'm hyper aware of it, and I use it. It's almost like, I don't know if you ever saw My Big Fat Greek Wedding, but the Greek father, his answer to every physical ailment was Windex. He would, if you had a wart, he'd spray Windex on it. If you had a cut, he'd spray Windex. Everything was Windex. It was a running gag in that movie. I guess my, excuse me, I'm going to hang up mute for a minute. I guess my version of the Windex is is to smile, because when I find myself in a bad mood for whatever reason, if I start smiling, it dissipates pretty quickly. But you have to be persistent about this. Again, the world is really trying to make sure that you know that you're unhappy. When I was in my 20s, I was in the feminist movement, and my father, God bless him, he used to say, women never knew they were unhappy until somebody told them. That was my father. But there's a little bit of that in the advertising and the political campaigns and all that they take a little seed of unhappiness that's inside of all of us, and then they start nurturing it so that it grows and grows and grows. So the only way you can combat that is to do your own nurturing and to make sure the happiness seed inside of you grows and grows and grows and grows. And like I say, it doesn't happen just naturally. We have a tendency to get cranky during the day. I love that word, cranky. And we have to have these fixes for it. So I've also mentioned in the past that music is a really great way to be persistently happy. And if, in fact, you're at home a lot these days, because we all are because of COVID, putting music on and even dancing to it or singing along with it will go a long way toward making you feel happier. But it really is a concerted effort. And what I ask you to measure for is, because you get more of what you focus on, start measuring for and start focusing on how much longer you are happy than you were maybe the day before. So it really, you might even, I don't know, you might want to have like check marks, like, oh, I'm in a good mood right now, or have a countdown, whatever it happens to be. But when you start measuring for when you're in a good mood, it'll start to grow because you get more of what you focus on. So yeah, I wish I had a magic pill that would just make you happy. I certainly used to think that alcohol would do that. But that stopped working really quickly, probably because alcohol is a depressant. And I know that there are pills that help people who suffer from depression, but that doesn't necessarily make them happy. it probably makes you a little bit more even keeled so that you can start pursuing being happy again. And all these little tricks and tricks of the trade are things that I've picked up along the way, and I continue to. Look, I'm the happiness mindset coach, okay? But it doesn't mean that I don't need to listen to my own words or listen to other experts. So I've got all sorts of podcasts that I listen to. I love comedy. Comedy is another great way to put yourself in a good mood and make you happy. I was watching last night with my husband. We put on a little bit of Brian Regan, who's one of my favorite comics. He's actually very funny and clean. And he does stuff with his body. I love physical comedy, and he does stuff with his body that just makes me laugh. So whatever it happens to be for you, but you want to have a recipe, just like you would if you were growing a garden. You would know like how often to water it and what kind of soil you needed, what kind of sun, all that. You're constantly tending to it. The same thing with your happiness is to tend to it on a regular basis and make sure that you are committed to growing your happiness. See, this is just coming out as I speak. And I'm committed to helping you grow your happiness. And the way that I do that is once a week I send out a vlog, and not to be confused with a blog. This is a video log that I send out once a week called Happiness Hacks. And if you're interested in receiving my weekly happiness hacks, you can go to my website, silverhappiness.com, and sign up. One of the things that they'll help you with, because they help me with this when I write them. One of the things they help me with when I write them, sorry I get distracted for a minute, is that I then have that particular whatever tool or technique that I'm passing along, I have that in my head and I'm practicing it all week long. Same thing with you. When you receive my vlog and listen to it's just 5 minutes, listen to it. It'll give you an idea of what to focus on that week to help you grow your happiness. So I hope you'll join. It's a lot, no cost, it's a lot of fun. And I also hope that you will put into the comments anything that you got out of this that you like, or any idea that you have to grow your own happiness. I see my friend Nancy's here. She says, I so agree, music. When I come home and the house is quiet and I am in a mood, I turn on the music and wow, I feel an immediate change. Yeah, so Nancy, it's not just me. Nancy says the same thing. So I'm going to sign off now. I just want to tell you what I believe with all my heart is that you deserve to be happy, and it is possible. Bye for now.